Hi everyone, and welcome to Maddie Vlogs. My name is Maddie, and I hope you're doing well, whether it's morning, afternoon, nighttime. I hope you're having a wonderful day and week. So today, my grandfather is unfortunately in the hospital, so I'm going to go visit him in the hospital. I'm going to see if I can film a little bit of the hospital, but if not, I will keep you updated on how it goes. So yeah, I'm at home right now, but I'm going to drive to the hospital. So see you all soon. Okay everyone, I am at the hospital, so let's go.
Take another one. Look at Grandma. Grandma.
Lindsay, Lindsay, oh, that's so sweet. Oh, she's fast.
She's fast. You gotta do it quick.
She turned
Let me try
away.
again.
Right, that's good, Lindsay. Great. Okay, here we go. Open your eyes. Open your eyes bright. Maddie, open your eyes, Lindsay. Woo-hoo. Oh, that's so sweet. That's sweet. Oh, she's smiling now. That was good, Lindsay. And I saw Winnie the Pooh. I saw Winnie the Pooh on your shirt.
Lindsay.
I can see Winnie the Pooh. I can see Winnie. Where's Martin? Where's Martin? Martin's right there. Okay.
Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. This is just a little quick update about today. I was at the hospital visiting my grandfather who has congestive heart failure and he's in renal kidney failure. He also has some cancer, so he's just really sick. Unfortunately, he has a lot of fluid in his chest, and his kidneys aren't working very well, so his body is unfortunately declining, and he's really weak, and it's hard for him to move around. And it was just so unexpected because my grandparents, they're 95 and 94 years old, so they've lived a long life, but it was kind of unexpected. He's was pretty independent. He and my grandma both. They needed help here and there, but for the most part, they were pretty independent. And just all of a sudden, he goes into the emergency room with a really low blood pressure, and I think there was maybe some traces of pneumonia, but they're not sure if he indeed had pneumonia. But he's not doing very well. His health is, instead of improving, he's getting worse, and the longer he stays in the hospital, the weaker he gets, and that's kind of unfortunate, and it's sad. And these last couple days, this last couple weeks, it hasn't really hit me, and I kind of was just oh, dying is a normal part of life. It's part of the process of living, and we're all gonna die at some point, and medically there's really not much they can do except, keeping him comfortable. And that didn't, I don't know how to describe it, but I was in kind of that zone of oh, it's not like, yeah, I'm sad, but it doesn't hit me in that kind of way. But then I went to their apartment tonight to visit my grandma, his wife, and it was really weird. Like, going in the house and like seeing all the pictures and just like his pens and his desk and like, I don't know, just everything. His like little journal diaries that he had, magnets, his little hats. I went into his closet to get some paper towels, and there were all his coats and everything. And it was just like really, really sad to think that my grandfather will probably never be back in this apartment. He's just so weak, and they live in an upstairs apartment that doesn't have an elevator. So he's probably not going to go back home, unfortunately. So it was really sad kind of being in the apartment and just thinking about like all the music that he liked to listen to and all the paintings, and just all of his things are there and he's not there. And just the fact knowing that he's not going to be home and he may die either in the hospital or in some kind of hospice care facility, just it really struck me. But kind of like reading through that was like really kind of like, it was a lot of nostalgia. I don't know how to describe it. It was sad. It was, I think, kind of hard. It's like the reality of like, he's not going to be like the grandfather that's sitting at the table anymore, eating his dinner and, you know, coming over and visiting him, and he'll tell us stories and he'll print us out articles of funny things, and he'll send us music in the mail and postcards and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's just so weird to think that that's over, and like that part of my life is like, I don't know. And I guess it didn't really hit me until I went over to the apartment and saw that kind of stuff. And like, he's really the only grandparent figure I've had. They're like the grandparents I've had my whole life. And so like, I'm super close with them. They live like 20 minutes from my house, so I saw them all the time growing up. And I mean, that's lucky. I guess I got to see them, but at the same time, that kind of makes it harder because I've never known life without them. And so, you know, like, I don't know. And my grandma's still alive, and she seems in good spirits, but she's sick too, but not as sick as he is right now. And it was weird being over there with my grandma and not having my grandpa there. Like, I'm so used to them being a unit and being together that it's just so weird to know that he's probably never coming home, and like what's going to happen to her, and just a lot of feelings there. It's just really sad to see him in 1 week go from like walking to eating by himself to like he can't even feed himself. And so it's a huge change, and he's not very coherent. He doesn't make a lot of sense. Sometimes you can get a good conversation out of him and he can communicate, but other times he's very disoriented and doesn't really know where he is, and he'll hallucinate and say like a lot of things that I don't understand, or, you know, things that aren't there. And it's just kind of, it's sad. It's sad to see him declining in such a fast way. But I mean, ultimately that's life, and that's how it works. And being at the hospital is so different. Like, I almost didn't put that like emotional personal connection into it. I saw him more as like a patient, which I mean probably isn't good to do, but that's kind of how I saw it, and that's kind of how I probably coped with it. And I just thought like, oh, he's just another sick patient. He needs to get out of the hospital. He really does. He needs to get into better care, because the nurses there don't really tend to him, which is sad. Like, I was there for like 3 hours, and like the nurse never even came to check on him. And like when I was at a different hospital working for my med surg, they would like check on the patient like every half hour, saying if you need anything, like what's going on. And maybe because he's so out of it, they feel like he doesn't need to be checked on. But like today my grandfather I like noticed that his gown was soaking wet, and he was like, I need the urinal. So I handed him the urinal, but he couldn't even like go to the bathroom. And then I noticed his gown was soaking wet, and there were blankets that were like urine all over it. And like he urinated everywhere, all over himself, and he had a huge bowel movement. So like, who knows? I had to go out and like get the nurse to help clean it up. And like, if I hadn't have said that, like, who knows how long he'd be sitting there in his own feces and stool and urine and getting pressure ulcers and, you know, skin breakdown. Like, they just don't check on him, and it's just really sad. So yeah, this is just kind of my thoughts on hospital care as kind of a nursing student, and also kind of being the relative of the patient. And going home to his house really solidified the notion that my grandfather's really sick and he's not coming home. It's just weird. It's different, and I've never really had experience with a person close to me dying. And so, I mean, I'm almost 25 years old, so I guess that's a blessing in disguise, and I'm really lucky that I've never really had anyone close to me die. So this is like kind of a whole new experience for me. And like, I don't know, I experienced death in kind of a weird way. Like, I think on the inside I am sad, but then like, oh, that's weird. Yeah, no, don't like that light. But then like, on the outside, I think I project kind of a neutral, kind of happy, like, oh, everything's fine, it's just life, and which it is. And I do have both kind of viewpoints. But I was really sick when I was little, and I learned, and I was reading through some of his diaries, and he like donated blood to me, and like I didn't even know that. And it's just like, he's just so amazing. He was a Navy doctor in the Navy, and he just did so much good for so many people. And he's just a really, really incredible, wonderful person, really smart, very wise. He loved to read, loved to write. He was a doctor. And so anyway, I'm just rambling on here. I apologize, but I hope you have a lovely day. It's getting dark out. I apologize if my face is all dark, but so anyways, I hope you're all doing well and having a lovely day, and I will see you all soon. Okay, bye.